Welcome to Long Brothers Reviews, the show where sibling rivalry meets the cinema, as two brothers rate and debate movies past, present, and coming soon. That's my brother Todd.
And that's my brother Mike. And today's movie is Kingsman, The Secret Service, directed by Matthew Vaughn and starring Colin Firth, Taron Egerton, and Samuel L. Jackson.
This week's order was decided by who was the shortest, and by that I mean under 5 feet. So, Todd, you're up.
Thank you very much. Kingsman is based on a comic book series, and this movie adaptation we get from Matthew Vaughn is just about as silly as a comic book. The Kingsmen are a small but highly skilled group of British spies who work independently of any government, and this spoof of the James Bond genre tells the story of their attempt to fill a hole in their ranks while battling the standard megalomaniacal media mogul who is plotting the standard control the world scheme. It is a film that starts with great potential, interesting characters, clever dialogue, and as Merlin, played by Mark Strong, says, the most dangerous job interview in the world. But ultimately, this film was done in by just trying to do too much. The villain's plot doesn't always make a lot of sense, and the comic book style violence eventually went so over the top that it turns expertly choreographed, well-shot fight scenes into just absurd gore fests. It's a movie that could have been an inspired action flick that launched a successful new franchise, or it could have been a brilliant spy spoof on par with the first Austin Powers movie. But in trying to do both, it ended up not doing either very well. And as much as I really wanted to like this film, I came away from it disappointed. And that's why I'm saying this film is probably not going to live up to your expectations, so skip it.
Let me let your big brother set the record straight here. Kingsman is just what the main characters literally say it is, a turbocharged version of the old James Bond. I liked it a lot. The problem, though, if there is a problem, is the occasional wild shift in tone. The silly bang, boom, pow stuff is difficult to enjoy when things suddenly get realistic. The worst case here is one scene, a long ballet of comic book violence that's really amazing, as you say. Very entertaining, but it's preceded by a stream of real-world slurs that are way out of place, way too much for a comic book movie. Overall, though, it's very entertaining if you can get past that, if you're willing to enjoy it for what it is. It's definitely not for kids in any way, shape, or form, and it is a welcome surprise for me, for sure. I say, see that thing.
Well, I know the scene you're talking about, and not to give away too much, of course, to those who haven't seen it, but for me, that's where the film came off the tracks. It was so over the top, and the dialogue was such a sudden shift in tone that it was jarring to me. You could almost see the balloons above their heads when they spoke. And while the fight scene, that fight scene reminded me a little bit of the Simon trilogy of movies, some of the great fight scenes you see in like Hot Fuzz and The World's End, which are really fun to watch. It didn't know when to stop.
No. This is, to quote Ferris Bueller, you can never go too far. The reason it doesn't feel quite right is because there's a stream of racial slurs and demographic slurs and slurs against Christians and slurs against a lot of people beforehand, and so it really is off-putting. And then you see the violence and the comic book violence. You wish that you could enjoy it a little more without that ugly reminder.
I really wanted to like this film. I was looking forward to this film. I try not to let that influence me too much because you don't want to get so excited about a film that it can't live up to the hype. But this one was just not what I expected it to be in the end. Like I say, I wish they would have said, this is going to be, like you said, turbocharged James Bond. If they'd have stuck through that all the way through instead of occasionally going off on this, let's just go crazy with the comic book violence, I would have been a lot happier with this film.
The movie is full of surprises, and so let me ruin that for everybody who's watching. There's something in here to offend everybody across the political spectrum. There is a big, how can I try to protect this? There's a big anti-Obama joke in here. There's a big anti-global warming supporter joke in here. There's a big anti-Thatcher joke in here. On the other end, there's a big pro-Reagan joke in here. They all come out of nowhere. It's sort of a big anti-Christian joke in here somewhere. There are all sorts of ugly slurs, but they're directed in every direction.
It is an equal opportunity offender, and I will give them credit for that. Like I say, I mean, yes, there's something in there to offend everyone, and I don't want this to sound like I was offended by the film. I wasn't offended by anything I was hearing, even though there were certainly things that could have offended me if I had taken this film that seriously.
The last shot is a huge dirty joke, by the way.
Yes. A funny one, though. A very funny one.
A fun joke, but a very dirty, funny joke. So it's just not at all what you expect, and I think that's probably why it doesn't get as much press as you would expect, because it's hard to categorize this picture.
Right. And speaking of ending on a dirty joke, that's it for this episode. To find out when our next review is online, you can like us on Facebook at Long Brothers Movie Reviews and follow us on Twitter at Long Bros Movies.
What's the joke, by the way? While you're at the Twitter and the Facebook, you can leave us a message. I sound like I'm 100. The Twitter, the Facebook. You can leave us a message and let us know what movies you'd like us to comment on. We'll actually step up and tell you what we think. And thanks for those of you who have. Those are coming soon.
And if there is a film you and a friend don't see eye to eye on, doesn't have to be a friend, could be somebody you just don't like and you want to make them feel stupid, tell us about it, and we will tell you who's right.
Yes, we will. Well, I'll tell you who's right, and he can guess.
So I'll tell you shouldn't listen to him.
Whatever you happen to think that gets you through the night. So until next time, that's my brother Todd.
And that's my brother Mike saying...
It goes to 11.